Hello everybody and welcome to the Benefactor at Chaotic Neutral Games. I'm Simon, your DM for tonight, as we join Corinne, Felicia and Nick with their adventures in Illyria. Don't forget, you can help or indeed hinder. Check out the options in the chat bar below. You can join our wonderful and growing Discord. Seriously, it kind of runs itself now. It's kind of scary. By finding the Discord link in our channel notes. You can... What else can you do? You can follow us. You can subscribe. Subscribing's good. Gives us money. Means we can do things. All of that lot. It's been a while. It's hot. I'm Welsh. We're not accustomed to this. I'm off... Felicia, they can't hear you yet. Anyway, let's go. We are talking to some angels and some angel adjacents. So let's get into it as we play. Yep, angels and agents adjacent. Again, they can't hear you yet. Let me do the intro. Right. Chaos ensues. Let's go. Welcome back and welcome to our players. So, after a lot of real life getting in the way, we are back once more. We don't have Kate. Kate is off again doing more real life stuff, but we decided that we were going to carry on regardless. So, what have we got? What we have is the Convocation, a thing that can happen in Illyria where if you get enough clerics, they can call together the representatives of the gods to have a kind of holy council. Thank you, Corinne. The players went and spoke to several clerics, and they ended up bringing in a large amount of clerics that... Corinne, what are you doing back there?
Something was stuck to my foot.
Oh, okay, right. So yes, sorry, distracted. The players brought a lot of clerics together. The clerics each got a representative from each of their gods. They started talking to the gods, not the gods, the angels that were brought down. Started getting introductions with it all when the doors burst open. This is going to be news to Nick because he didn't manage to watch the last episode. So as Nick, your character got taken up in the air, surrounded by light, and you ended up channeling a champion of the Raven Queen. The doors burst open, and several figures walked in. And I'll go through them very quickly because we have had quite a few weeks. So, the people who were representing the good gods. There's a dragonborn that's representing Bahamut, a dwarf that's presenting for Cord, an Eladrin for Pelor, a Kalashtar for Avandra, a half-elf for Corellon, a Tauren for Moradin, a Tabaxi for Melora, and an Orc for Ioun, a Gnome for Arathis, a Tiefling for Sahanin. So that's all the good gods. We use the Dawn War gods. Then the doors burst open. Another Dragonborn turned up. Immediately, the Bahamutian Dragonborn started going nuts. The Dragonborn, not Dragonborn, the Angel of Bahamut, who also presents as a Dragonborn, kind of gave a hiss because this is a Tiamatian Dragonborn that came in. That was about the only cleric that was identifiable as a cleric. There was also another gnome, a strange hooded figure with a lithe kind of strangely walking figure inside, a tiefling who later on identified as a representative of Asmodeus, a drow, guess which goddess that they represent, an orc of Grumsh, an elf who you're not entirely sure who they are representing, and another Tauren. This time the Tauren was clearly representing Bane. They walked up with all the confidence in the world and started talking to say, we were called here. It's a convocation, right? They immediately got possessed. And each of them has been possessed by something. Now, you know that the tiefling has been either possessed or is, in like a telepathic link with some sort of fiend, some sort of devil. The others, you're not entirely sure. A lot of them haven't spoken. And the main one that's spoken is the tiefling who's speaking for Asmodeus. You guys have got some links with hell, or at least you've had some dealings with hell. And as a result, you started the conversation with them. The conversation went, in terms of TLDR, like this. So first of all, they said that when you go to the Golden City, there's going to be some fiends there. The fiends are going to want to return to hell. If they want to return to hell, part of the deal for the non-involvement and general non-aggression pact over this issue is any devils that want to go back and fight in the Blood War for hell must be allowed to do so. At which point you said yes. You added to it that you wanted to have Excellence Tezcatlipoca, Glory's cousin, to be freed. So they said, fair enough, we'll make him part of the deal. He'll turn up in the Golden City with a standard of Dis. The city of Dis being one of the the plane of Dis and the city of Dis.
Well,
they
they
offered
offered
the
the
standard
standard
first.
first, and Glory basically said, I don't want to carry that, so send out my cousin instead.
Yep. They agreed to that. And so he will
Begrudgingly.
he will be brokering part of that deal himself. You know currently that he is in a prison cell.
Yeah.
He managed to
He
contact...
fucked up.
Yeah, he fucked up. He managed to contact Cora because he knew he couldn't get to you. You've got several protections and things that stops him from just prying in. So what he did instead is he, knowing enough about Cora with regard to her dreams and things like that, he actually invoked her through a form of meditation and hallucination. Like lucid dreaming. He managed to call her. That's where we got up to. Now, I'm going to segue into the scene. The Asmodean turns and says, there is one other matter we'd like to discuss. But for that, you, and he points to the very dark, armoured person, the only angel that turned up without, with the helmet on.
Yes, because we're pretty sure it's we don't know if it's you. That's why you put helmet on because we weren't sure if you were being coy if it's actually Raven Queen or not.
Yeah. He points to the very kind of Raven Queen armored figure. Points and says, "Step back. We wish to speak to the cleric." The figure shrugs, doesn't actually say anything, and instead of stepping back, just kind of casually walks off to the side, at which point the light around Farewell disappears and he floats gently down to the floor. So, Nick, from your point of view, I've told you about the 2 deals that's been made, the figures that came in. You were watching all that, but whilst you were watching all that, you were channeling divine energy, a large amount, through your body. It didn't exhaust you or anything like that. You were just being used as a holy conduit, as some of the other clerics are being used as well. As your feet touch the floor, you are back in the room.
Oh, my feet and toes tingle. I look at Glory, and there's just a look. There's a knowing look of like, what did you do? I don't know what it quite was, but you did something. You did something. You did something, and I know you did something.
At Farewell.
Cleric.
I have a name.
Farewell,
we just
Bearbuns.
called you Mr. Evil Guy. Glowy eyes.
If you wish.
Horns.
If you wish. Yes. Farewell, Barebones.
Hello.
We wish to speak to you on the matter of time.
No.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No.
Our contacts believe that you've been subjected to some form of time manipulation magic. What happened to you?
Oh, damn it!
We don't kink shame. It's in the charter.
And you make the assumption that if I was, I'd comprehend?
So evasive. What do you mean would have been more attemptful? We have got an understanding, do we not, other members of the council, that manipulation of time is forbidden by all gods. What happened to you,
Ooh.
cleric?
Gods.
Ooh. Ooh. Yeah. That's nice. That's kind of a step up in job title, isn't it? I think
Oh, yeah. So is Farewell a god now?
The gods forbid it, which means there's every possibility that we may have to stabilize you. It's
Now-
Not in
We
this
didn't-
temple, you won't.
Also, we didn't invite you here to cast accusations onto us. Or in fact, we didn't invite you at all.
thankfully no invite is required. This is a convocation of the Pantheon. A law,
The good one.
a tradition that predates
Point, Eclipse.
this plane of existence. Each of us has a right to be here. Is that not right, Messenger of Bahamut? The dragon-born angel twitches his large platinum wings and goes, "It is true." And what he says about threats to our existence, also true. We may end up facing off against each other, but law is law. So, farewell. I still see that you have the light inside you that we share. And by we, he means all the fucking good gods. He's really good.
Hmm?
Are you able to explain how you've been touched by chronomancy?
Yes. And I manifest my knife. And I sort of hold it out.
Oh,
And,
yes.
This 9-foot tall dragonborn angel steps forward. Suddenly you're feeling very small. Runs a tip of a talon down the knife. It is a divine tool.
Mm-hmm. A gift from the Shadowlands. And through it, quite by accident, I found myself, whilst trying to learn of its uniqueness and its mysteries, I got a little lost in the ether, so to speak. And as such, the only way that they were found to pull me out was through a old bit of magic which seems to have lingered and followed and come with me all the way through. Turns out that if you break the veil breaks in return.
It does. Asmodean, you have your answer. He bears a shard of a dead god, and it's accepted him. Ravenite, what do you say of this? And when he says Ravenite, he looks over you to the armoured figure behind you.
No, I still say farewell. I'm just like, I'm right here, dude.
I'm right here.
I now understand what Korra feels like, but it's like, I'm right here, bro.
The armoured figure steps forward, and when the armoured figure speaks, there's a very hollow sound, like inside this helmet is the abyss. Not the abyss, the void, sorry. And in this strange kind of deep sinuous tones, the figure says, "This part of divinity found Brother Barebones. It did so for a reason. We do not question fate, for we are made of fate. He has made himself a servant of fate, and so fate found him. Much has happened with regard to the lost one. Much of what exists here is sown into him, and what he shall be, and what shall come to pass.
That sounds so
Are
nice.
you surprised that fate found he who was able to fight him in his first revelation to this world in so very long?"
I mean, I'm just impressed I got a new title. I mean, God is quite rather kind of good, you know. I mean, that's a rather step up in the world. It's more than I was looking for, but you know.
So should we start calling you God Farewell now instead of Father Farewell?
I mean, His Most Holiness, I feel, would be perhaps more sort of interpersonal. We've known each other quite a while now, so we shouldn't really stand on titles too much. So, yeah,
I
His
mean, we only call
Holiness-
you Father Farewell to annoy you, so I don't know. But
Yeah, but like,
I heard
you know, he's great.
a kobold the other day whisper "wet daddy" when he walked by instead. I think that sounded more up Farewell's league.
Eowyn flutters around your head and says, "Can I be a pope?
Yes,
I gotta get a hat."
the biggest one you can find.
You can see that the angels are not at all impressed by what you're saying.
Nope.
Look, sorry, I like to use humour and flippancy to mask my pant-wetting fear, but if we have all finished describing, debating, and measuring our metaphysical divine fallacies, maybe we could talk about the real problem in the room, kind of, sort of, please. That would be really nice.
The Dragonborn angel turns to the Asmodean and says, "What do you say, Asmodean? You have your answer. He was bestowed with a piece of divinity. That piece of divinity is fate. That fate has a touch of time to it. Is this sufficient?" The Asmodean steps forward and says, kind of with a purring voice, "Oh, for now. For now." Any of my other esteemed colleagues? And they all look to him with almost blank faces. He says, "Good. Was just a little concerned, you understand. The lost is quite a broad subject, is it not? We never did find them all." So,
Not terrible.
you're going to go and get back your hero, your big cat. And he's going to help you to take down the lost. Or
Is
this one.
is the architect the lost?
That's what he calls himself. Oh, how cute. Yes. I guess an architect would be a fairly accurate literal description.
So is the architect a lost god?
Oh, that's an interesting one. Pelorite. What say you? The Pelor angel steps forward and says, "A divine being, yes. The broadest definition of a god? Yes. This being has followers. It is divine. It was created by the gods and wields the power of the gods. Yes. I suppose for all sets of definitions, it's a god. However, compared to the interesting circumstances that brought the Raven Queen to us, and the necessary compromise that brought Vecna into the Astral Sea, this god, for which we shall call him so, cannot be allowed in the Astral Sea. He is the god of creation, to use your vernacular. He's more the force of creation.
I was gonna say, isn't Moradin the god of like craft and creation?
Moradin.
I mean, for the dwarves. And I'm like, listen, I'm leaning over to like Clips, and I'm like, for the dwarves, pretty much so. But some of the other gods like to tend to take that into their domain. They get a very possessive over titles. I'd just be cautious.
The Pelorite says,
Whoever you're speaking to.
it's true that Moradin is the sponsor of creation. Everything that is created by an artisan or a craftsman in any way, shape or form is based on Moradin. And it is true that Moradin is the current father, I suppose, of matter as you know it. However, that was not true when we first needed to create the planes. Moradin was... how do we explain it? The gods were slightly different then. More a coagulation of power. It was hard to know where one began and the other ended. In fact, many of the rules that says who we are and what we are now are dictated by, well, you, followers. Those who, in worshipping us, tell us who we are. The force that you're talking about, I guess, is no different to a spell. Just a very powerful and very complex spell that had self-awareness.
Oh,
It
sounds
was
great.
also a time of the Titans. As I'm sure Brother Barebones will be able to tell you more about, the Titans themselves were children of the gods.
Technically not a lay brother anymore. Just throwing that out there.
When this creature was created, there were more of us, and we all put our power into him. Since we had to destroy and lock the Titans away, we don't have the power we once had. It didn't return to us. And I doubt that the Titans would agree to extend their power. So yes, we need to find a way of controlling him. We can't bring him back into the astral sea. He cannot be killed. He can be defeated and pushed back through the gate, back into his prison, until next time. I guess that's what we're going to go for. The gods will, of course, help you, but there are rules, even for, and points to the evil gods on the other side. We can only empower. We can lead you. We can give you divine power. We can lead you to artifacts of great power. But we can't actually set foot on this plane as a being of free will anymore. Any appearance of a god here is more of a social call. And when we do so, we leave our power behind.
Yes, you need to be.
So then, if we
Canon.
are to contain him again until next time, are you planning to let it spiral out of control like this again? And then just pick a next group of people who will have to fix your mess?
Well, please bear in mind, until you, and by you I mean mortal beings, found a way of bridging the gap, his prison was perfect.
It can't have been perfect then if it fell apart because somebody...
Perfect from the inside. He couldn't find his way out. He had no way of triangulating his new plane of existence. Now that he visited, it was only a matter of time until he came back. Even now, he's boring through the void, knowing the direction that he has to go in, and simply eroding his way through until he breaks loose. We have looked through fate and destiny. Unfortunately, it's part of destiny that he will reveal himself first to you. You who defeated him the first time. You're
Great.
You're kind of his anchors. He witnessed you the most.
Right. If we go to a different plane of existence, we will like throw a massive trail.
I have a feeling that what would happen is, if you were on a different plane of existence when he turned up, you would be pulled back here to this Ostergald.
No?
When the rift opens, he would correspond to you, and you to him. Doesn't matter where you are, you would feel yourself ripped through his time and space to him.
Right.
That's also our advantage. We've noticed that someone's been meddling in your lives. Each of you has had something happen to bring you to this place. We suspect that someone has been interfering with free will.
Ah.
I look at the evil gods.
Yeah, it's them.
I don't point. I just look.
Yeah.
Just
I do. I'm very. When Powell does, I also do.
The Asmodean goes, "Not our bag."
Is
Fair.
that
You may
absolutely
step
your bag?
slight-
Like slavery and lack of free will? Isn't that absolutely what you're about?
You need to know Hell better. However, it's not what we do, and to be fair, I'm not entirely sure that this is anything divine. Looks like it, but just don't know who I would pin it on. Other than the
We're just like, we don't know at all. We have no idea.
other than the Ravenite over there, but we know her hand isn't in it. Evandrin. At which point the angel steps forward. Tall, brunette, female angel, or female presenting angel. And as she steps down from kind of her part of the dais, she says, "It's true that we bless all who brave the dangers that are ahead with a certain amount of luck." At the word luck, the Asmodean goes, "So there is a chance always. There's always hope. This is something that we know more than anyone else. However, this hope is championed, but not by us. Tell me, do you believe that you have somebody, some mastermind behind you all?"
I plead the fifth.
Wouldn't say so. I quite like being in charge of my own life.
Then an unknown beneficiary. Interesting.
Yes. I know.
But does it matter if we know them or not? We're here now, so...
True. Avandra has been paying particular attention to these two. To these few. They have an unconventional way of doing things, which I think is going to go well for them. The first battle that we saw against this, what do they call them? Architect? Allowed.
What do we actually do? Do you want us to call him the Lost or the Architects?
The angels all look at each other, and you have a feeling there's telepathic communication. The architect shall suffice. The lost will be acceptable. Creation is perfectly fine. But he's a living tool, like your golems, much like a magically animated object. He's just so complex that he believes himself to be like us.
If he's just a creation, can't we just shut him off? Many golems have that, once their power source is disabled.
Oh, of course. All we need to do is go and approach the Titans, let them out of their eternal prisons, and ask them if they'll help us.
I suppose the Titans wouldn't be up for that, but... Did you really create something that you couldn't at least control, even if you weren't one had all
That's
your
not
powers?
the problem. You see, we could defeat him. We could, in fact, completely destroy creation. Do you see the problem with that sentence?
I mean, slightly, but I mean, you are all known for being a tad dramatic. Most of the scriptures have a lot of Armageddon built into them.
there are some gods who wouldn't mind starting again. She looks at the Grumsh orc and he goes,
What, 7th time a charm?
we would prefer not to. And also we believe that once we imprison him, we can be a little more creative this time. We can't tell you much more about that.
I'd rather you didn't, because if he's got some way of poking into brains or compelling, the least we know, the more effective your cell is.
You understand.
Plus, I don't have to lie if I'm asked.
You understand us.
Exactly.
Very well. Let's get to practicalities.
Please.
We've already talked about your journey to Joradan the Great. In doing so, Joradan will hopefully be restored, and as he does so, so will a mote of the Allfather. That will make us stronger. The mote of divinity will be an aspect that will not be expected. You see, to have this mote of divinity so separated from Pelor for all these years, to be part of someone else, well, that's something that even flummoxes us a little. The Allfather, I'm sure, will be very interested to receive the mote back into himself. And hopefully he shall know a little more about, well, humanity when that happens. You all seem to have very different skills. We do not see you as being a cohesive unit, more individuals who have learnt to work with each other. This is not something that happens very often around Illyria. Nations stay with nations. People, certain species, work only with themselves. And here you are, a coagulation of different cultures and personalities and powers and connections. We're going to simply watch you and be ready. When the demons attack Ostergald, we shall bestow divine favour upon the city. People will be reinforced. They will find it harder to get hurt. They will find that simply a small breather will be enough for wounds to close, for bones even to knit.
You can pierce the veil that effectively?
We can declare champions and give them divine power. We will simply take our champions throughout Ostergald and bestow that favour upon them. Both the good, looks over to the others, and the bad. The Asmodean steps forward. Well, there's no point in only having half the city in power, do you understand? Yes, we shall take the sinful, the selfish, the violent, the grasping and greedy, and we shall empower them too. After all, this is a fight for their lives too, you understand. Once the battle is done, we shall all simultaneously restore our divine favour. You've already prepared some.
Yeah. And I'm sort of not very subtly, but trying to be subtle, thumbing at the Asmodean, like, you've got that in writing, right?
Yeah.
If necessary, my master will provide the oath. And you can see that the angels nod.
And I'm nodding furiously, like, the oath, get the oath, get the oath, get the oath, get the oath.
Get the oath, get the oath from the Asmodean, please. Check it over with, like, your lawyers, your non-employers.
We have detected worship that is not directed to anyone in this room. We believe it is worshipped to him. We know
About
that
right?
those worshippers are coming to the city, and some are already here.
Yes, they've been throwing attacks at certain people in the city.
I recommend you hunt them down. Does not have necessarily to be you. You can get your paladin-y people to hunt them down. They will put unwanted complications into the battle. Unfortunately, he will bestow on them the knowledge to be able to withdraw our divine favour. Desecration. It goes both ways. What is consecrated to my master is desecration to theirs. We shall be consecrating individuals. If these cultists are able to set themselves up within the city, they will be able to ward off our divine favour, as we are able to do to each other. He will use the game against us. You understand?
Okay, so we need to go and kill the agents.
Yes.
At least make sure that some people are on it before this happens, because we need to proceed with the Jordan campaign quickly as well, Eclipse.
I think we can do two at once. We can set up teams to find, but not necessarily kill, because they'd be tough, and we're probably better armed to do that. And we go finish Jordan, come back, mop up, clean up, and hopefully we can do that within enough time.
Yes.
Very well. Very well then. An empowered city. A city of heroes. And villains. Which only leads to any extra favour that you individually would want from us. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Bless you, random Asmodean ceasing.
Bless you. Burning, burning.
Now, if I really wanted to fuck with him, it's you go right up to him and just be like, I forgive you.
Yeah.
Straight out of Constantine. You have to ask for forgiveness, dick. The Dark Dragonborn steps forward and says, Child of Tiamat,
No?
surely you wish to have some favour from the Queen.
But I just put my hand on Eclipse's shoulder and give her a gentle squeeze.
No.
Faith.
Do hope that my progress has pleased Her Majesty and that he knows that I am fighting for Skalra.
There's no pleasing her, only fearing her and following her commands.
Also, isn't Scholar both Bahamut and Tiamat?
You will actually get a nod from the Bahamut going, damn fucking right it is.
We're dragons, bitches!
Okay, oh, this is going to be fun. Let's
Those
see
are
what
the
we get.
silly parts of it.
6 and 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
How does that kobold keep getting in here?
Amazing.
Every time, just look.
Okay. So, you guys are starting to feel a bit, all of you are starting to feel a bit, I don't know, like you need a drink, water maybe? Bit weird. And because you've said it, I'm going to say that in the corner there is just a little blue kobold who's
Giggling.
who's just looking around, going, "Oh, there's fucking angels here." You know,
I just imagine just sat at the back in one of the pews, like it not being big enough for its feet to come off the end of the pew.
Yep.
Just like its whole like sitting down body fits inside the seat of the pew, and it's just sort of sat there and just like hands on its lap, just going.
Yep.
This
He's sat in the pew. He's got a big tricorn that's like almost too big for his head. Giant, what seems to be like a ostrich feather or something. A fucking huge feather. And he has on him.
Are you gonna do it? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he has he has tucked into his belt a knife with glowing runes in it.
Oh shit! It's like
It looks beautiful. I mean, it's like it looks like it's made by the finest artisans. Beautiful knife, just fucking glowing, and he's just like, oh. And he won't help you. He's not in canon.
Well, he's in canon, but he's also not helping.
No, the last thing the hermit says is not in canon.
True.
Yeah, you are all feeling a bit parched. It's very strange. And actually, I'm going to say, sat next to the kobold is a pale-looking human, also dressed in the same kind of manner, but not rocking it as much as the kobold is. They turn around to you and say, the Tiamatian says, "You may beg her for more power, you understand."
I do.
I
But
suppose
how
I was
would I
gonna
be a
beg.
proper Tiamatian if I did not show my own power first?
You think that you have enough power to take on this being?
Oh, I do believe I can at least give him a good shot. After all, I wouldn't be the pride of my family if I couldn't.
The pride of your family. I'm all of
Yes,
shiver.
glory.
Will we be seeing your grandfather on the battlefield, little one?
I don't know.
Possibly. Though I do believe that several of my other relatives will be joining the battle.
The Tiamatian stalks down to you. Compared to the thick-jawed and kind of like square-headed Bahamutian, the Tiamatian is more of a kind of almost beaked, thin-headed, almost vulture-like dragonborn.
Yeah, and she's not a angel because he has the like glowing eyes. He's
He's got the
not-
glowing eyes. Basically, he's a possessed at the moment,
Yeah.
or semi-possessed. So you're not entirely sure, but it's probably he's speaking and things are speaking in his head and occasionally speaking through him. You're not quite sure. So, comes down and says, "You smell delightful, by the way, Glory."
You don't
You
I?
mean to say?
But you, my dear, are not my type.
But you're more my type these days. I have a feeling that you might indeed need to kneel before the Queen. You're so very, very different now, Miss Tezcago.
Oh, for the better.
Very well. We'll talk later.
I'm sure we will.
The Dragonborn withdraws at the look of the Tiefling. And the Tiefling says, "Very well. Are you sure you would ask nothing of us, or even your own gods? Nothing of Cord.
Nothing
of
from you
Bane.
guys. Avandra!
The large, as I say, brunette female angel, a female presenting angel says, "You wish something of us?"
You're the god of luck. Yeah?
Yes.
I like luck.
Everyone likes luck. Not just luck, but also hope.
I like that too.
Good. Maybe you should pray a little more to Avandra then.
If the one that's gaining your
Magic
favor
thing Eclipse like, yeah, you should pray more.
I should pray for her. We're like, alright.
Eclipse shows her faith through action, not through words.
Now that does show an understanding of our goddess. It really does. Do you know how you pray to Avandra, little one?
You adventure?
There's a big smile on the angel's face, and she pulls her sword. At which point, energy blades appear in the hands of the evil god representatives, and she goes, just kind of, she's not even just worried about the fact that they've drawn these nasty kind of like energy crackling blades. She pulls out the sword and says, "This is how you pray."
I do all that.
She sheaths the sword again and says, "Very well. You called us here."
I did. It was my idea, by the way.
Then may I suggest you come to the point?
My point initially, so which we already discussed, was the architect and also talking to the Pelorites about Jordan and how he was connected to Pelor and how he initially defeated the architect or manifestation of the original thing that could have been connected to the architect.
He killed a demon that was created by the architect. One of the architect's first forays into this world before we sealed it completely. As we were sealing him away, he was a twisting, writhing, and by that I don't mean shape-shifting, I mean conceptually being. It's like trying to put a cat into a box. No offence.
I'm thinking.
The things that spilled out of him, we were able to get most of them, but this one was a strange creature. And by that time, we had to depend on the faithful to be able to destroy him. And so, from time to time, the various members of our pantheon show faith back. Jordan had faith in Pelor, but Pelor had faith in Jordan. When he did so, he gave Jordan a piece of himself. We've all done it. By becoming an exemplar of Pelor, he was able to strike with Pelor's strength.
Wasn't it a thing we were talking about a few minutes ago, but a few weeks ago, was the fact that we created a soul for a thing? I think that was mentioned.
Creating a soul is not quite correct. A soul... souls aren't necessarily created. They...
The thing that happened to...
They are grown.
The soul that grew within Lilith thanks to Pelor and Jordan.
Yes. By no means a perfect soul, but show me what a perfect soul looks like. She wanted to be different. In fact, identified down to her very core as different. This was not simply a desire, a treasure to be granted. That's their job. And you can see this kind of sneering look from the Asmodean. We don't grant wishes, desires. The best way to get a god involved is simply to talk to them. Talk to them about what it is that is going wrong in the world, how it affects people, how you feel for other people, what you're willing to do to change, either yourself or the world around you. And that's what Karnatava started doing. She stopped thinking of herself, she stopped wanting. And in the end, the thing that gave her her soul was that she just loved. She didn't care what was going to go on tomorrow, 1,000 years' time, when Jordan finally was taken in by age. She just had love. That's all. Any more questions?
Not questions. Though, did I play a question? Did I misunderstand when they said, "Oh, you can ask us for boons," or?
Yeah, they said, "What do you ask of us?"
Yeah. Is there any boon you would like to grant me? Avandra, hello. Do you want to give me anything?
When we grant divine power, ordinarily the powers that manifest come from the individual themselves. Father Barebones, for example, everything that he does because it's in him to do it. By communicating with the Raven Queen, she simply empowers him to be the best him. The application of divine energy simply allows him to do more him than he could have done without it. I could lead you to a weapon of great strength. At which point
I already have that.
There's a twitch at your belt.
I said I already have that, and I kind of think I was like, I hold the Sashul out.
Yeah.
I take him out.
She kind of ignores Sashul. She knows the little asshole and just won't give him the time of day. If you want a boon, Eclipse of the Moon, simply start acting like it.
Okay. Give me a boon.
At which point Asmodeus goes, "Greed, I believe she's one of mine."
No, fuck off.
The Evandrin smiles and says, "That's only the first step." Is there anything specific anybody would need from us? Do you have any questions that you need answering?
No.
Yes. I turned to the other two, like, hey, we have all the gods to talk to. Do you have any other questions? I've kind of asked my big ones.
I wasn't sure about this meeting to begin with. I don't have any questions.
I would only ask that anything other than what I need, anything extra, anything special, anything beyond the ordinary, is gifted to the innocent, so they may not be caught what surely will be a battle for the ages.
Unfortunately,
my faith and strength will carry me through.
Well spake. I understand how you're a champion for the Raven Queen. She was much like you once. Very well. If you wish to have a boon of us, simply impress us.
Thanks.
You're about to go into quite interesting times. Simply be yourself, and we shall be watching. Avandra favours you already for the fact that you even step on this path. Now, it's time for you to realise what your full potential could be with a touch of divinity.
Right, let's go.
See? And I look at Eclipse. Not so fucking easy now, isn't it? Oh, Farewell, you have such an easy job. All you've got to do is say a couple of prayers and someone gives you the... Ah. A little bit
I
more
never
respect.
said that.
Oh, no. Ah, Farewell, you never hear me. Oh, you're always making excuses why it's so hard to hear me. Why can't I have those holy weapons back from you? That's you. That's what you sound like.
At least I'm not like. I just gestured
Yeah,
away.
yeah, exactly.
Yes, independent glory who asks for very little.
Yeah. I want to buff me, Farewell. Heal me, Farewell. Farewell, make all of the food for us. Ah, Farewell, I've broken something. Can you fix it?
That's she when she breaks a nail.
I look back up up at the gods. Couldn't you have made Tabaxi's just a little bit less?
They all look
just like 1% less.
They all look to the Maloran
Representative.
the Maloran angel who's got, you know, like what seems to be like an almost ivory plate and all the rest of it. They all look to her and she goes, "We can't dictate their nature."
Oh yes, well some of us, our species, just get made and then we have to fucking deal with it. And you're not so fucking can't detect their nature then, are you?
Yeah, because you're genocide made
Yes.
by, well, they're, well, not made as in they were created by human and genie getting it on, and then you had genocide.
Right in front of the gods, you know.
Sex eclipse. It's called sex.
Ow! Procreating. That was the word.
Uh-huh.
The Corella Knight goes big kind of elven angel says, "I believe we're getting off track.
Oh no, don't worry, this is normal.
Yeah.
We're aware.
So why did you say anything? You know we get back on track in a moment.
Eventually.
We agree to a non-aggression pact over this battle. Between now and the battle of the Architect, all hostilities shall cease, except the blood war, which of course, by mandate, is eternal. We shall not instruct our followers to pursue each other within the city of Ostergald. Outside of the city of Ostergald, we shall command our followers to seek out this cult to the lost and eliminate them. By this divine mandate, we are all in agreement, and everyone there says, "Aye." Very well. Our gods have spoken. They are here with us. They speak through us. And may we succeed. The kind of tall hooded figure. There's two of them on the dark side. There's one who kind of moves very strangely, and there's another one that is quite stiff, and you can see, from what you can see under the hood, has kind of almost elven features. And and from under the hood, the kind of elven figure, as he speaks, you can tell this person is indeed elven. Says, "What of the other lost?"
Other lost? Is there another one?
The Iron Knight steps forward and says, "What of them? They are not the issue right now." The elf says, "Well, surely the other lost might be able to help us. They are possessed of the same power."
Who's not the lost? Fill us in here, mortals.
The Iron Knight turns to you and this is a large non-binary angel. Turns to you and says, "The being of creation was not the only tool we created. In fact, the gods you see present here aren't the only gods who have ever existed. There have been other lesser gods that have existed throughout time. The goddess Seren, for example. People call her the daughter of Pelor. She is not represented here. She decided to step away from this world, and to our knowledge still travels the astral sea alone. But you're not referring to her, are you? Veknight?" The elf smiles and says, "No. No, I'm not, am I? Tell me, how many became lost when the New Order was formed? I would like to know." And the Iron Knight doesn't look this figure in the eye because they've got a cowl coming down over their eyes. And the Iron Knight just stares like almost through them and goes, "I bet you would." Looks at the blade in Farewell's hands and says, "I think you're being distracted, Veknight." And they gesture towards Farewell's blade, and Farewell's blade starts glowing with this huge celestial fire for about 5 seconds, and then dies down, and there seems to be a glow in the middle of the obsidian now, like this.
Well, have you been carrying around the god the entire time?
You said that out loud. At which part the Iron Knight turns around and says, "No, just part of a dead god."
The things that knife has seen.
The predecessor
God,
to the
things
Raven
that
Queen.
knife has seen. Oh God, the things that knife has actually seen.
Hmm?
Before the Raven Queen was the goddess of fate, there was an open vacancy for some time. At which point, the Iron Knight goes to say something, and it's actually the Veknight that pipes up and goes, "And you broke her, didn't you? You broke her. You had to. You see, fate is fate. How can you change something that's already fated? You kill the goddess of fate, don't you?
Well, not necessarily.
Don't you, Iron Knight?"
Linear. It's kind of wobbly.
Yeah, fate is not a linear thing where, like, oh, you're fated to do this at one time or whatever.
It isn't anymore. They didn't want to break a second god, you see. Why do you think a mortal is now the goddess of fate? Beautiful allegory, isn't it? Fate is in the hands of a mortal. Fate is in your hands? Well, certainly my master managed to do it.
I can see why they don't invite you to a lot of these things.
Yeah, you must be really fun at parties.
Because I tell the truth. I whisper it sometimes.
Sure.
The shard that you carry there is fate. Or was fate. Immutable fate. She had no power per se. She simply was the goddess that carried the conduit. She could tell you what was going to happen, and it never, ever changed. Up until the point where she told the other gods something they didn't want to hear. And they didn't like it. And what did they do? They said no. Now, she was neither what you would consider good nor bad. She simply was. A lot of gods were back then, and a lot of lost are those types of gods. Neither good nor evil, simply is. So, of course, when they said no to her, they effectively declared war. I mean, let's face it. Fate is fate is fate. It's like turning round. Oh, let's see. Who have we got here? Who have we got here? Let's say we could go to Melora. Melora. What if we said that nature
Can I
shouldn't
stab
be
him,
nature
Howell?
anymore?
Can I stab him?
How about?
Can I-
Oh, please,
can I-
it'll go
can I
right
stab
through
him?
me.
No, I won't stab him. Just ignore him.
If we said
He's
to
like most-
Melora
he's
that the
like most
birth wouldn't
Vegnites,
happen.
you know, they get off on people just sort of, you know.
Oh, and you
You
said
haven't
you
said
wanted to
anything.
learn. I'm telling
Actually, I
you
didn't
more
say
than
that.
they are.
Yes.
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 Yes, you are telling us so much. We are learning so much from you. Yes, please continue. Yay.
Tell me, Brother Barebones, how much training did you get with that knife? I wager not as much as I've given you in the last few sentences. Oh, you little puppet. You walk around and you do all these little things. Ah, you're so cute. I'm giving you a gift here, boy.
Don't call me boy.
You're all boys to us. Children. Hell,
And you are
even my
vastly
master's a
outstaying
child.
your welcome. Now be gone with you.
Oh, did you hear that?
Be gone.
He's breaking the convocation, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, actually, can I? Is
We
spells
have to
allowed?
now.
Can I cast
We
a
have to
spell?
go. Oh dear. Do you hear that, everybody?
Can
Are
I
we
put
break?
hypnotic pattern on him to shut him up?
Your spell cancels immediately.
Yeah.
And she's trying to attack me. Am I allowed to kill her now? Is that how it works? And you can see the fucking Cordite stepping forward, the fucking huge sword coming out. Oh, I'm afraid the party's ending. I'm sorry, brethren. We're going to have to finish this now. At which
I will
point,
use
all of-
thaumaturgy, Simon, if I may.
go on.
So at the loudest bit, so it echoes throughout the whole of the temple. Like, we're talking like windows shaking. It's like, enough!
And they all die.
Then they all.
All of the evil gods' representatives die on the floor.
Oh,
I
Blood
wouldn't
starts.
find anyone who
Blood
wasn't
starts pouring from their
expendable.
nose and their ears.
so if anyone ever wanted a deterrent, why not return to them?
Most of the angels basically at that point whoop, 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 disappear, and the only two that are left are the Sahanin angel, so goddess of the moon, lovers, trickster, and the
Raven Queen.
and the Ravenite behind you.
Yeah.
As they do so, everybody starts to descend, including the actual Sahanin priestess.
Oh.
They all descend, Well, Farewell was a conduit before in the Ravenite state. And the Sahanin, beautiful silver-haired, female-presenting, silver plate-clad angel walks forward. Her eyes, when you look at them, her eyes are voids where you can see stars.
Oh. Hey.
She steps forward and says, "Sorry about that."
No, it's my fault. I shouldn't have lost my temper.
No, they tend to get a bit petty at the end of a convocation, especially if they don't believe that things went their way. I'm surprised that we had a Vec Knight at all. That, I think, is probably the most disturbing one of the lot. Typically, they're not allowed to turn up.
Yes, I didn't want them here.
I wonder what their angle is. Ravenite.
Nothing good.
Ravenite, I don't believe I've met you before. The black-winged angel with the Raven Queen armor says, "No, I believe we have not. I am a champion that appeared when the Raven Queen did. As you know, many came into existence when she gained her divinity." The Sahanin angel kind of nods and says, "Yes."
No, you're not just a Raven Queen.
Brother Farewell,
Yes.
I believe I know the truth of that knife and your being. Thankfully,
It'd be nice to know it, to learn from it from not a fucking crazy person.
Well, no, the Vec Knight was quite correct.
Yes, crazy, but they were speaking the truth, and it was fascinating to hear.
The Sahanin...
Yes, but
You shouldn't turn down information sources. Always try and get a second reference, but...
My point isn't that he was incorrect while being crazy. My fact that he was being crazy and twisting things in a way that was favorable for him.
As I said, that's why you get a second reference. I thought you said you went to school, Eclipse.
If you'd listened, you would know. I didn't dismiss it as false. Just wanted it from a source that wasn't him. Because he was crazy.
The Moon Angel, the Sahanin angel, bends down to Farewell's level and, whispering in your ear so that only you hear it, Farewell, says, "A very clever trick to use the shard as a camouflage." And then she says, "We miss you," and kisses you just in front of the ear.
Starting kissing you.
All you see is whisper, whisper, whisper. The kiss is not a romantic kiss. It's more like a kiss on top of the head. So she whispered in the ear and then kind of kissed like here, on the hair, like you would, go up to like a dear friend, or maybe like going up to your son and go like that or whatever, and it would. That's kind of a very familiar, as in familial, almost platonic kiss, and you can see that there's a look of real emotion on this angel's face. And she steps back and says, I'll leave you to your goddess. Be careful."
Always am.
And then she takes something out of a pocket in her belt, walks up to Eowyn, and you can't see, but holds it in front of Eowyn, and Eowyn goes, "Oh, yes, I understand. flutters into her hands and flutters back out. Goodbye. And in a beam of moonlight, woof, disappears, leaving you just with the Ravenite. I would like a perception check from everybody other than Phil. 16.
Because reliable palate.
Glory?
Sorry.
Perception.
Perception check.
Perception, yeah. That's a natural one. I see nothing.
Okay. Eclipse. When the whisper, that you don't know what it was, happened with Farewell, and then Farewell got kissed on top of the head, the Ravenite did this. Momentarily. Basically face palmed with a helmet on.
I look very confused.
So the Sahanian one is gone. The Ravenite is left behind. The Ravenite, at the point where that goes, kind of looks up, then looks down, then kind of shrugs their shoulders, and the wings disappear, and they sit down on the steps in front of you, and says, "Well, that went as well as it. Guess it could have."
That you, Raven Queen?
No.
Yeah, let's go with that answer. I mean, there was a reason why I kind of like to keep my my life just a little bit more simple, low key.
Yeah, well, I think we're way past that while ago.
No. I wasn't. You were. You were very much more noticeable than I was.
I've never done anything low-key.
Exactly.
Very true. I mean,
Exactly. It's a very nice way of just doing all the right things and not having to deal with any of the, and I just wave in like circles around. It's like,
You can see that all the clerics, by the way, are picking up the damned and dragging them out of the cathedral, because they're kind of like, let's get these desecrated corpses out, shall we? Just in case. And
I mean, next time
It was
could
clear
you
that
ask
they were
them-
expendable. That
Yeah, very,
Tiamatian
very.
was clearly a mainlander.
Yeah, it's
Mate.
just
Like, from the main part of Valeria, not from Skaldra, is what Glory is referring to.
does that actually make any difference, or is that just racism,
Yes.
Glory?
Yes, it
not
does.
necessarily racism, but at least
Xenophobia?
yeah, kind of. Yeah, we'll go with that. That's probably the easiest way to put it. But no, just shitting on someone's just no, just leave it. I just oh god.
So, yeah, as then, if you wanted an illustration why the evil gods are evil and bad, that's right there. Right there.
The Ravenite champion that's just sat there just watching you and not seemingly that surprised, says, "They're just gods. They
I know.
can't
you're
help their nature.
fallible.
They're more enslaved by their nature than anybody else."
You are but fallible thing. Well, they are fallible things.
More so than you give them credit for.
More so than credit they deserve.
They're trying to do what they can, and what they said about the boon and things like that, it's true. I mean, if you want a boon from them, yes, you can ask, but the strongest boons that they can give are those that you actually forge yourself.
Yes, I know. Not an idiot, but
I was talking to you,
Equally.
Chris, but
Why?
yeah, that's...
no, I know. But this is just Farewell just verbally blurring out like. But the issue here is not so much the boons. There is always a cost, always a price, and a boon isn't always a boon. It is often an obligation, and we have enough problems as it is without having to repay that debt. And there are much more needing people that could do with their attention. We can get on just fine.
the right answer. There's a reason why our goddess favours you so much.
Well, that and the baking.
She said something about that before.
Yeah, and you can remind her that I am more than perfectly aware that when I bake 12 and I come back after they've cooled down and there's only 9, I know where the other 3 have gone.
You do know you live with a tabaxi, right?
Yes.
Yes,
But
but
the-
you can't blame me every time when he saw me the entire time and I was sleeping and he didn't take his eyes off me.
You do have an invisible mage hand.
Or, more importantly, you make sure the tabaxi is fed first before anybody else, and that she wakes up or is distracted by the gift that is coming towards her rather than having the need to steal them when they're too hot. Plus, if you always make the ones where
and you do like midnight baking when Eclipse is asleep on one of our beds.
Exactly. So, no blaming the tabaxi. Thank you. I know damn well when she steals things. And I look at Eclipse.
Yes.
Don't you think I don't know it's you? Either.
The Raven Knight stands up and says, "You're going to a more difficult part of this path now. Just know we're here, okay?
I'm aware.
And when more pertinent questions come up, then maybe that's the time to call us. But you don't need to call all of us. You see how less efficient it is."
Yes, but now when we're actually spoken to you, are we more likely to be able to talk to you again, individually, without having to do a whole thing?
I refer to my colleague from the Evandrin faith.
I can always teach you the proper way to convene with the gods, Eclipse, if you like it. I don't think you could sit still for long enough. But
I don't think I'd be very good at the official way. My
Well,
wisdom
then-
is 10.
Not all faith is piety. Not all
Exactly.
piety, faith.
Just
And gods prefer fate to be shown through actions.
especially that one.
The Raven Knight gets up off the steps and, in a very un-angel-like way, seems to be plucking her underwear from out of the crack of her arse. Adjusts the armor and says,
You sure you're not new at this?
well, as they said, compared to the gods, my kind are all babies. And with that, ravens everywhere.
So what's that make us?
Infants.
Oh,
Specks
yeah.
of dirt.
Ugh.
I goats.
Ah.
Kiela
You know.
walks up and says, other than the dead cultists, did you get what you need?
Yeah, think so.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about the cultists thing, by the way. Just
I had no intention of them showing up. Didn't want them here.
They had the right, it's divine
yeah,
mandate.
they were gonna show up, and
If they
You always
wanted to
know.
show up, they were gonna show up.
The
This
d-
is why convocations are messy, Eclipse.
You
True.
don't act like you knew this was gonna happen, Glory. You had
Oh,
no
I
idea.
didn't know it was gonna happen, but The possibility was there. I'm just here to see the chaos. You're the one who wanted this. I didn't want to be in the presence of that many angels.
You do see
To
that
be-
the tubby friar dwarf is walking up to you and he goes, "Well, that was eventful." Well, I mean, I've never felt so connected to Cord. I'll be going out and preaching about this in the streets. Are you all okay?
Yeah, we're good. I mean, I was just gonna say I'm really impressed, Glory. I kind of expected you to just spontaneously combust. So the
Oh,
fact that
do
you
not worry.
didn't-
I know when to shut up.
Oh no, I was just thinking that they just look at you and just the whole, you know, just on the spot, just fire.
Yeah, that you were gonna like combust and they were gonna be like, oh, Tiamat, oh.
Well, the Bahamutian wasn't exactly happy to see you, but I would
Oh, they never
consider
are.
maybe a slight adjustment of faith, Miss Glory.
I mean, to be fair to Glory, she didn't actually pledge allegiance to the Tiamat. She was very evasive and decided it was like, oh no, I can do it on my own power.
Lars says, "Well, I thought you were just trying to impress the Dragon Queen."
No.
In part, she does prefer action, and whoever that man was, he clearly was from here in Illyria, not Skalra. The way we practice religion is different. Instead of fearing the queen, we appease her.
That's
It
also
is-
part of fearing though, because you need to appease her so she doesn't eat you.
Well,
You'd be
depends on who you are.
surprised how many like faiths there are that.
I mean,
involve
we
our
saw
ritualistic-
Hope's face.
Yes, yes, I did eclipse. I am not forgotten. But no, I don't think I'll change God anytime soon.
That's a shame.
That would complicate things more than necessary.
Religion's already complicated, lass. It's a shame. A scholar and magic user like you. In the right circumstances, either I, nor Corellum would take you on. You just have to, well, be willing to find that part of you
Being
that
she
connects to
worships
them.
herself, my dude.
That itself could be a problem. I'm not going to
Me-
preach, though it is my job to preach, you understand. Just a little advice. The closer you
You
get
do
to
it
the
well,
major
wouldn't you?
events, the more that fucking queen is going to end up breathing down your neck.
I'm aware. And she's not the only one.
You're fighting on our side and fighting with good people. And for what it's worth, for what I've seen of you, you're not so bad. Certainly nothing like her. Some friendly advice, let's say, rather than preaching. Anyway, the day is young. Let's get out there. And he kind of slaps his belly. Yep. My voice is going to be hoarse tonight. And he starts just heading out of the cathedral.
Stop by the Hork and Harness for a drink, Ben.
Will do.
Tell them we sent you. You'll
Oh,
get it
I will.
free.
You say you
One
go.
of these days, Noki is gonna actually get mad at us for it.
Yes, he's gonna be like, no more free drinks.
Are you kidding? For every one free drink that he has to give out because of us, he gets like 20 paying customers just to stand around and stare at that booth.
True.
So with that, you head out in the street, and the rest of the day is yours, your own. We're going to take a quick 10-minute break for a comfort, and then when we get back, I'm going to ask you what you want to do with the rest of your day, and if not, I shall throw something on you. See you in a bit. And we are back. So, when we left off, you guys had finished the convocation with the angels. Hope you got what you wanted out of that. Or at least you got something out of that. I'm afraid gods, as much as fiends, are a little difficult to get straight answers out of. My question is, you've got the rest of the day ahead of you. What would you want to do with that day? If there's nothing in particular that you've got for that day, then I have a story for you.
I need like 2 minutes. One of the other farewells has been walking into a wall for like all of the time we were doing that, and those, you know, those assholes with the invisible cloak have decided it was really, really funny to just box him in rather than just turn him around. And like, I've had this itch on the back of my head, you know, like it's not working, and it's really distracting. So 2 minutes, I'll be right back. And like, you can see that like Farrell's like image just kind of goes a bit fuzzy, like he's kind of like vibrating on this like really, really quickly, and then like a minute or two later he just pops back and he's like, I'm done. Sorry about that. Seems 3 and 4 or so got stuck. Apparently, you don't mess with the old washer ladies in the city, because they take your muteness as consent and have you carry stuff around. This is why I tend not to let them out and about. But considering that they're walking around the city and they are setting up traps for me and doing the groundwork that I need to do because I can't be in many places at once, you'd be surprised about the things that they get them to do, thinking it's me.
I mean, I don't know if you need to be more careful with having them walk around and blatantly displaying your powers.
They think it's me. Honest to God, they just think it's me.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
I've had 7 random people thank me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what for. Apparently I was very helpful.
Should we be more concerned about the evil gods sniffing around your powers?
No, because we'll be fine. If anything, it might cause them to reveal themselves, at which point we can take advantage of that.
Oh.
Indeed.
Also, they seem to be like, they don't know that we know about our benefactor.
Yes. She has done a good job hiding herself.
Exactly, which is one of the other reasons why I also suspect if they try and appear and do anything, it'll also show themselves to her, and she's more inclined to deal with it in a terminal capacity.
Either way, shall we go to the Green Mansion and have some search parties made to figure out where these cultists are hiding in the city?
I think so. I think we should set that up, and then the day is our oyster.
Indeed, we were just gonna prepare today before we take on the whole Jordan campaign. And I suppose we're gonna have to let Hal have some time to get their bureaucracy in order to send up excellence.
Yes, your cousin. I mean, good for you for getting him out of trouble.
Oh, he's gonna owe me big.
Yeah, we get to tease him again. Yeah.
So you go to the Green Mansion. Green Mansion is, as usual, a buzz, but it's a buzz for a different reason this time. You go to once you get into the mansion, the one of the clerks turns around and goes, "Ah, the heroes of the hour! Please come through, come through." Not really asking why you're there.
They know better by
you
now.
get pulled into one of the big kind of clerks' rooms, which you're sure at one point must have been some sort of like entertaining room where ladies probably supped on, tea and had cakes and things like that. But now it's just full of people with large amounts of paper. And he goes, "They're here. They're here. Who would like to give the report?" At which point, a dwarven woman goes, "Yeah, I'll do it. We've got quite a few people who have signed up already. We've got the from the cat people, sorry, the Tabaxi. We've got ourselves. We've got some monks. We've got some kind of like street fighting folk. We've got some people who are kind of they're kind of very nimble, and I guess they're kind of like guerrilla tactic archers, I suppose. Now there was one interesting thing here. Here we go. We've got let's see, a missive from the House Akai from Jinya. Now we didn't even know they had Tabaxi out there, so yeah. The House Akai has said that previously they were associated with Jordan way back when, before they even went to Jinya. Apparently they've got common ancestry with some of the Narukans. So they're willing to send over 50 Leonin samurais, whatever them are. I presume that Leonin are a type of Tabaxi? I don't know if you know much about them. Yeah? Congratulations, you got 50 of them with swords. Yeah, they're going to come over. Now,
good.
Good.
That's it from your lot. Now, we've got a detachment from the Duke. We've got a detachment from the Green Organization itself. And we did end up getting what they call them. We've got a bunch of these sailor folk who said that they're happy to come along because they believe that there might be some people there who are there against their will. What are they called? Speckleman. That's it.
Shackleman?
That's the one, Shackleman. So they got some of these Shackleman people who are going to come along.
Did you have to tell him the right name?
Oh,
They're really
that's why we saw
funny
the freaking kobold.
And they said that they're going to come to the Golden City, and it's kind of strange. We didn't ask them, but they said they wouldn't nick anything.
It's
So-
nice of them to be upfront about that part.
Well, yeah, we thought it was a bit proactive. I mean, we weren't going to accuse them of anything. So apparently they're going to come along as well. 20 of them, apparently. So they're going to come in and help out as well, kind of rappers. We also have, libertarians coming. Now, libertarians is a bit of a in-joke in Ostigald. You have a place called the Liberty Quarter. Liberty Quarter is known for the Thieves Guild. Libertarians, who liberate things. Yeah.
Not the crazy like political group in the United States.
No.
It's an in-joke in Ostigald. So the libertarians are people who liberate items from other people.
Please.
And she goes, yeah. So yeah, you've got another 40 of them. They seem to be a mixed lot, but they say that they will simply flank the current group and be able to feed back information. All
They've
told,
always been good at
let's
the
see, you've
network.
got about 300 people.
Not a bad amount for sieging the city.
Well, it depends if you've got any Goristro there. If they end up charging through, I hope the people there are nimble. I suppose the libs will be able to get out of the way, and so will the Tabaxi. But some of our lot, if they're in heavy plate, they'll be trampled by it. We'll see what we can do. We've been speaking to Sun, and he told us what the battle situation was just before they sealed the city. But I have a feeling you got a fight on your hands regardless.
Yes. We also have a second issue that's going to need to be taken care of here in the city.
Yes.
We just came from having a convocation with the gods.
Oh, it's all right for some.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But they did bring up one issue. There are some, you know about the cultists that have been fought throughout the area recently.
Yes, I was
Well-
working here when they sent some sort of weird-ass creature trying to kill the boss. Yes.
Yes. Basically, the gods said that some have already infiltrated the city and are probably putting up defenses to stop the gods from helping our side. So we're gonna need to find out where they are and deal with them.
We'll contact the other factions around the city, and
Yes.
basically we'll do it on a territory-by-territory basis. We want
Figure
to
out
keep
where they
we
are.
want to keep
If they
people on our
seem
side.
to
You
be
understand?
strong, then don't engage them until we get back. But if they look like our men can take care of them, then feel free to do so beforehand. I trust that the green agents can judge themselves whether or not.
Pretty much, yeah. From what I can hear. I mean, if
Good.
push comes to shove, we can always get some of the stronger people in the city. You're not the only ones around here, you know. We could get
Indeed.
we could get the boss. We could get the Archmagister. We could get the Duke.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure we could put
There's
enough
plenty
people
of
together.
people who can help out.
But if you're around, consider yourself volunteered. Okay.
Good.
Anything
And that is
else?
sorted. Well, Eclipse, anything else you want to be planned before completing your life's goal?
Don't. Have a rest. Be ready. We still need to wait a bit for everything to get ready before we can actually go, because it takes a bit of time to actually muster an army.
Not that much, apparently. Most of them are ready.
Though we do need Glory's cousin to get here before we can go.
Fair enough.
He'll be here before morning if I judge things right.
Fair enough. We'll wait on your instruction. I mean, you're the one who can open the gate after all. We've got barracks here, barracks in Naruka. I've been told that the Xinians have gone to Naruka, and we'll open the gate simultaneously in 2 different locations. Miss Lilith has already told us about that. The 2 gates will appear side by side in the Golden City in the same location, and everyone will spill in. And then all hell will break loose.
Oh, yes.
Good luck in there.
Thank you.
We've done as much as we can. The Empire could send more. We could get more from other different locations, but frankly, they're getting ready for the other thing. I wish the...
Did Aiden send any reinforcements for this? Or are the Blood Hunters busy with cults?
He said... Tell Eclipse that she can sort her own affairs out. We've got a god to fight.
Fair enough.
He's trying to get all these bloody blood hunters all on the same hymn sheet. Don't even know if they sing hymns.
Yeah.
But the point is they're still arguing. The majority of them say that they will follow him into this battle. They won't consider him the commander of all the blood hunters. But for this fight, they're willing to fly under the same banner, and that's the banner that he's holding. So he just needs to get some of the others
Good. His
involved.
negotiations are coming along then.
He's doing well, from what we can tell. In that case, I think that's about... And at which point, a gnomish courier comes in and says, "Latest from Meridia." She goes, "Oh, hang on a sec. What's this?" Finds the scroll, opens up, and goes, "Oh. Okay. I spoke too soon. Apparently you're going to get some help from Meridia. Deorin Canton. Apparently.
Oh.
Never heard of the place, frankly. I'm sure it's on the list of cantons there. There's a canton for everything in Meridia. But yes, apparently you're being sent a strike force from Meridia. That should be useful.
I don't care. I really hope it includes a... Well, I don't know where.
Corinne, you're not gonna get to play 2 characters at once.
No,
That's too much
but-
chaos for me.
Not 2 characters at once, but if Simon can play the other character, it's fine. I just want
Simon's like, his board brain is melted as much as it is. He's tired and hot and really wants to go to bed. So please don't overtax poor Simon's brain.
No.
Even I'm being good now. I bullied him earlier, now I'm being good.
We'll put it this way. I've been looking at the 5-player thing because, yes, there will be a cameo for the Golden City, assuming that all of the sessions can line up the right way. I have spoken to them recently, but I kind of know what they're doing at the moment. But I'm hoping that we do get a cameo from one of my previous games coming in. So, yeah. By the looks of it, that's everything. Anything else?
Nothing from me.
Okay.
I do believe we're mostly prepared. We just need to await the last of the people to arrive, and then we're ready to set off.
Okay.
I'm going to assume Simon have been able to go around and get like spell components and things. That I
Absolutely,
need.
yeah.
Even,
Yeah,
even
and we've
some of the
refilled our
expensive stuff.
like health potions and stuff like that.
We're in a part of the campaign where they will just sign off on that shit.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure I was locked and
Yeah.
ready.
Early campaign, I would have been there kind of like, "Ooh, yeah, you got to pick that up." Now, you can pretty much get stuff from the Imperial Treasury. Because they know that if you don't succeed, a bloody great big hole with a god in it is going to appear in the Empire. So, yeah, let's just say you've got a bit of a blank check there. In terms of spell components and things. So, you get stocked up and all the rest of it.
get some diamonds.
the cleric does turn around and say to you, clerk does turn around and say to you, "Oh, by the way, don't disturb the boss. She's having some private time."
Sure, she can handle it herself.
Anyway,
Well,
actually,
are we doing a hero's feast before the?
actually, I think who said she's doing private time?
Oh, she did.
Because last time she was left alone in there, she almost died.
I'm sure she's got like her guards and stuff. She's probably got her grey cloaks with her.
If anything, after the last time that what happened, the Grey Cloaks will insist that they'll be there.
Yes,
Even if
I
she
do
I-
not believe she will
I
be
still
left
want to
alone.
double check that they're there, because last time it happened, who are you?
Who
Do
am
we
I?
know you?
You've seen her about. This is it would be Moana Swineback. She's
Do
a
they
hill
seem
dwarf.
genuine?
Hmm?
Do they seem genuine?
Oh yeah, you've seen her around. She's just a clerk. She's like literally a secretary. Yeah.
Yeah. I have the message bell. I will send, because we're like in the Green Mansion. We're not far away from.
Yeah.
We're not there at all, are we? I will just send a message bell to Renata saying, "Hey, you okay?"
Cantrip fails.
Alright, my cantrip doesn't work. Well, I'll be right back.
Almost as if she's in a very heavily warded study.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
You have your badge.
I do. I call her on my badge.
No answer.
Oh shit. I hurry to her room.
Okay. You go up to the room
I
and
go to the room. Is there a guard posted outside or something?
you can see the room to her study, which you know is kind of her private chambers because this mansion, it's still a fucking house. And stood there, kind of going. Her ladyship says that she wants to have private time, please. Is what would her name be? Neris, one of her maids. You've met Neris before. She's legit.
Oh, you're sure she's
You
not
see no
dying
guards.
in there? Because last time we left her on her own, she got almost killed by a spirit thing.
And funnily enough, her ladyship has learnt from that experience and she has redoubled her defences.
Okay. You 100% sure she's fine because she wasn't responding to my call.
Do you mind talking to her, please? And suddenly, standing either side of her is a very familiar-looking drow in a grey cloak and a wood
Okay,
elf
you, I believe.
and a wood elf in a grey cloak, and both of them are there saying, "We are literally outside every window and standing on the roof."
Oh, cool. That's all I need to know. Bye.
I'm
Goodbye,
still
Eclipse.
upset with you lot for what you did. That's not funny. Do you know how difficult it is?
When they
to
disappear.
stop them? Fucking assholes.
Yeah, so you leave the grey cloaks to it. Yeah, this is her house. She's been attacked recently. She's got to fight a god. She's having a rest.
Oh yeah, the Eclipse wasn't. The Eclipse was only suspicious because last time something very bad happened.
Eclipse was being a cat. That is what happened.
Actually, I will give you a little something because you did pursue this. Give me it'd be a perception check.
Yeah, I will actually roll over 10. That would be nice. Where's my perception? 30-20.
30-20. Okay. You do hear coming through through the room, through the doors. You know that she can make the place soundproof if she wants to, and she's just choosing not to. You can hear a woman singing that isn't Renata. That's about as much
Having
as I can.
private time.
I'm thinking.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, you come back down. What would you like to do?
Well, Eclipse?
Good. I think going and resting. Do you guys have anything?
No, I'm
we
all
picked up
set.
everything we needed
Yeah.
while you were running around like a cat on Sumis.
Okay. In that case, I will hijack the story. The rest of the day passes fairly uneventfully. When you get back to the Hawk and Harness, there are a number of people who have come up and assured you that they will fight by your side in the Golden City. Some of them are soldiers under the Duke. Various sergeants and captains kind of come and speak to you. It's mostly small talk. It's polite conversation where they say to you that they understand the gravity of this. There are a few local tabaxi that come in and they've asked to kind of fight alongside. You get about 3 or 4 of them once they find out what it is you're actually doing. You do indeed have a fantastic, ornately written letter. I mean, the calligraphy on this is astounding, from House Akai, who does introduce themselves specifically to Eclipse of the Moon. Also, as part of that introduction, they also introduce themselves to Sun. It's very samurai in the way it reads, and they point out that they're going to bring some of their finest warriors that can be trusted with their lives to dispatch themselves with honor. You do get a few other odds and sods. There's some mages and clerics and things like that are there, so you make up the proper kind of army formation. And you end up reading a lot of documents that you don't really understand. None of you are trained tacticians. The closest person to a trained tactician is Aiden, and he ain't here. So you finish up with that. Glory, you get a chance to do a bit of your enchantment and so on. You progress some of your projects a little bit. It's a pretty productive day, all in all, despite the infuriating start talking to various representatives of various gods. And then it comes to night time. For some, uneventful. Cora goes to bed, disappears. Stuff happens in the Feywild, probably spending time with the family. It's all good. However, actually with Eclipse as well, Eclipse pretty much just falls asleep. No problem.
Which bed are you sleeping on today, Eclipse?
Glorious.
Okay, that might become relevant. Especially considering when Glory gets in, Cassandra is on the bed wearing nothing. And
As Glory and Eclipse walks in together, and Eclipse goes, "Oh, okay," and I go to Farrell's room instead.
Cassandra does a little kind of thing as if to say bye-bye.
She was in Glory's room naked again, wasn't she?
Yes.
Yeah, I felt she would be. Just don't kick me this time. Your claws are sharp.
I try not.
Okay.
Half of the time when Eclipse sleeps in the Farewell's room, Farewell ends up sleeping in the bathtub.
Yeah.
And you fall asleep. Glory. After a pleasant night of companionship, you know that by the time you wake up the next morning, Cassandra's not going to be there. In fact, you're probably sure that the second you fall asleep, she slopes out and goes back to her kingdom. You sleep and it's slightly fitful. And there's a certain point where you wake in the middle of the night. But before that, your dreams start to twist and you know that you're thrashing in the bed. And suddenly you kind of wake up. You go back to sleep again. And the second that you close your eyes, you wake up oppressive heat all around you. You're on your knees on this harsh rock. It's like the rock itself can never have its edges, its rough, shattered edges like napped flint, that these edges can never be blunted. There's no form of erosion here that will turn rocks into pebbles. It's like almost a vista of rocks like broken glass. Even the mountains in the distance seem to be these giant, jagged shards reaching up to what you hope is the sky. But that's detail that you remember hours and hours from now. Because in front of you, and by in front of you I mean towering over you, is this gigantic dragon. The middle head is red with with bright yellow eyes. On each side, 2 extra heads. Black, white, green, and blue. The mother of dragons screeches back with all of her heads, the various breaths firing off in all directions. You can see this giant chain around her central neck, tied to a giant stake, covered in angelic runes that's driven what seems to be miles into the ground, if the top is any representation of the bottom. She screams into the night. It's not a roar, it's a banshee scream. It makes you want to just scoop out your eardrums from your head, but you knew that even if you did, that would have no effect, that this just screams into your mind. You would half expect to get psychic damage or something like that from this, but all you get is this sensation. There's no specific words for you. You're not worthy of that. It's simply an emotion. And that is kneel. Fear me. Obey me, or be ended. She's calling to you, telling you to remember who your fucking queen is.
Go, Glory, go. Go, Glory.
Go, Glory. Go, Glory, go, 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 Glory, go.
As you recoil back, wings come back, and you realise that you're not in any of your humanoid forms, you're in your kind of mostly void dragon form. And she's just screeching and screeching at you, almost like she's trying to erode your mind with her voice. I would like you to give me a charisma saving throw, please.
21.
21.
After roll 10. That is very bad. This is why I shouldn't use online dice.
After one of the screams pushes you back a bit, your claws bite into this unforgiving stone. And your wings open wide, and taking a deep breath, you scream back at her. This more mellifluous, like resonating crystal roar comes from your mouth, right back at her. The reaction from Tiamat is almost instantaneous, as all of the heads suddenly curl around, locking on you from all angles, and all 5 breaths roar towards you. You wake up covered in sweat, quite a lot hotter than you started, like temperature-wise you can cook on your skin, and you wake up hyperventilating, sweating, and you spend the rest of the night kind of staring at the ceiling. Farewell. Your sleep is more rewarding, more gentle, less eventful. But just before you wake up, and you all wake up in a very particular way, before you wake up, Farewell, you dream of Renata. And
Oh, that can't be healthy.
it's really short dream. You know, lots of other dreams and things come and go, the usual stuff. And right before you wake up to somebody knocking on your door, there's a tiny short dream that you remember implicitly, where you're kind of in that blissful, non-dreaming state, and then out of the darkness in your mind is Renata's face, and she just goes, "Remember, farewell. Timing is everything." And with that, she fades again. And there's a...
Ah, shit. This is what I wake up.
Mr. Farewell! Mr. Farewell! You've got to come! You've got to come. Felicia, perception check, please.
Hold on. I grab my arm.
Perception check with disadvantage, please, Felicia.
Am I awake?
They're knocking on the door,
11.
of course.
Oh, I don't get a weird dream. I'm fine. Hello!
11, there was some sort of sound about 5 minutes before. It was quite loud. You're not entirely sure what it was. Somewhere else in the city. You know, maybe a cart tipped over or something like that. You wake up and there's a guy at the door. Mr. Farewell! Mr. Farewell!
Wait. Who are you?
I'm sorry, miss. I don't know that you two were in flagrante.
No, just focus. Problem. You look worried.
You've got to come to the Green Mansions. Something's gone terribly wrong, sir.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, fuck, I told you!
Yeah, I know you told us. Go wake Gloria. I'll get the carpet ready.
Gloria's already awake.
And she pushes the door open. You can see she has bags under her eyes that the concealer isn't quite hiding.
By the way, your charisma saving throw means you did get enough sleep, so you don't get exhaustion. So that's fine.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But she can still look tired.
Yeah. Oh yeah, characterful. She looks tired. Suddenly, just appearing not in her bed, but appearing in the middle of the corridor, is Cora tucking in her shirt, going, "What happened?
Something Green Mansion. Let's go.
Okay," and she starts running with you. Noki jumps over the bar as you emerge and goes, "Let's go!" And he's holding a crystal cane. And he goes, "Let's go!" And as he does so, he focuses on the cane, and the top of the cane starts going, whoa, 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 and you can see his eyes are going the same with the cane. Some sort of psychic energy. And he starts hurtling through the streets. When you pull out the carpet and get on, he turns around and he goes, "Oh, of course," and leaps onto the carpet quite deftly. Does like a 3-point landing, not like a superhero 3-point landing drop, but kind of jumps backwards and then kind of hunkers down so that he's not getting in anybody's way. And with the carpet, and then you see it. The second you get above the roof line of the city, you see it. As you get closer, you see it in greater detail. The Green Mansion, hasn't exploded, but is exploding. It's frozen in time. There's a huge crowd outside, all green green organization operatives. They've cordoned off the street, and you can see as you crest over the building, you can see that a large figure grabs hold of a robed figure and goes, and the robed figure does the message thing and says, "Hosta says to come down here. We need to fight them off." At which point, part of the street kind of morphs. So the cobblestones of the street just starts to melt and wobble, and suddenly, like, 3 stone tentacles, like onyx tails, start going like that, and you can see Hosta just suddenly leap up in the air and go, "Hurrah!" She slams the axe down on the floor, and a thunder wave shatters the stone
Sashul!
across the street. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how. Well, Sashul doesn't really have much of a range count. Back on Sashul.
Sashul, you don't actually need to throw Sashul. As you say, Sashul, he shoots up from your belt and starts spinning around.
And I direct him towards whatever other tentacle things are popping up.
Yep, you can see that a little further along, the cobblestones are starting to animate and all the rest of it. You send Sashul, at which point Noki goes, he's a metal, it's made out of stuff, oh, fuck me. At which point it goes through one of the stone tentacles. When the stone tentacle is separated, and these are thrashing around like bludgeoning people. They're made out of stone. When Sashul goes through one of them, the severed tentacle just explodes in this cloud of brick dust. You can also see that the Green Mansion, as you get closer and you start to land next to Hosta, the Green Mansion is like if you've exploded it, and as it gets out to a certain distance, maybe a few meters in every direction, you've stopped it in time. That is what you're seeing. It's clearly an arcane explosion. Everything is just there, floating in space, completely preserved. Lightning and bolts of energy are flying all over the place. You can see that frost is forming on some of the buildings nearby. Basically, local wild magic is going mental. It wasn't Scum's fault. It wasn't Scum's fault. I will say that.
For once.
You're all feeling particularly rough, almost a little sick, as you're coming down, and you can see that for the fact that this thing's exploded, you can't see anyone injured.
Where's Renata?
In fact, the one figure that you can see in the middle of the explosion, the mansion completely fucked. This kind of shell of various slowly orbiting pieces. Right in the middle, back like that, her eyes glowing, is Renata Green. She's frozen, presumably in time, just in the air. A very slight bob. You don't know whether it's time reversing and then going forward slightly and reversing. A little bit like trying to keep the car on the clutch, but time. You get down to Hosta and she goes, she told us all to get out. She ordered us all to get out, like about a minute before.
She's keeping it in stasis. We need to get her out.
The mansion's fucked. The mansion's fucked. Nothing we can do about that. We need to get her out.
We need to get people away from this block.
She grabs Eclipse at Hosta, puts her very large hand over Eclipse's head, pushes Eclipse to the side, at which point this tentacle goes woof like that, and she just cleaves it in two, and it explodes. And she goes,
Right.
we can't get back in.
Yeah.
The air's solid.
I know.
Bolts of energy come out. It nearly fried half the clerks.
I know.
You're going to have to get us in there.
I will get you in there. I just need a couple of minutes to think and act. So,
I would like
Yes.
you to do an insight check on yourselves.
I'd like
On ourselves, all of us.
And I have no clue. I hate online dice.
16, because
Apparently,
Reliable
when I
power.
roll with online dice, I cannot roll over a 10 on the dice. So
you got a dirty
13.
20 before.
21.
No,
21.
I didn't. Corinne did.
I think you had a dirty 20 on one of your previous rolls.
No.
Never mind. Okay. Hello in the pan and the Chindividual. Chindividual, I really like the name. That name. Oh, and we got raided. That's why we got raided. Thank you very much, the Manapot Studios. We are in the last 20 minutes of the game, and the eponymous character, the NPC, the Benefactor herself, is in the middle of a time-frozen explosion. You can see that she's floating there. I believe that Corinne, you got a 16 for for Eclipse. Inciting herself. And Nick, you got a 21, was it?
Yep.
Yep, okay. Yeah, you are there kind of going, why do I feel so shit? And you're just like, am I hungover? That dry sensation that you felt in the cathedral. You need a drink. Badly.
Like an alcoholic drink?
An alcoholic drink.
Oh, I'm gonna kill that little kobold when I get my hands on him. I'm gonna get hold of him, and then I'm gonna lay the little dragon scales off.
May I suggest, Farewell,
I know. I'm focused. I am very
I'm just
focused.
saying, you've mentioned how you can pick and choose which fate is the best. So
That's
using
what
the
I'm trying.
knife to like figure out how to pull Renata out might be a good idea.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Farewell.
process
You
of it, I
don't
need
feel
a-
like this is a good idea without a drink inside you. You seriously think this is a bad idea unless you get a wee dram inside you.
Does anyone?
Can't believe I'm gonna do this because you will recall I do have the
no.
hit flask of spells,
Oh yeah.
which is technically booze,
It is.
but
It is
rolls on
alcoholic.
one of
It is
Simon's
unending
magical-
booze.
It's unending booze, but drinking on it will cause a spell to go off.
And
If I
last time
can't-
you almost caused a war between the Modrons and the Feywild.
Yes, I almost caused an interplanar dispute the last time I used this spell.
What can possibly go right? Do it.
What could possibly go right? So, if I cannot focus without a wee dram in me, I suppose I need a wee dram, and without even sort of paying real attention to what's going on, I reach into my bag of holding, I unscrew the top of it, pop it off, big heavy slug, screw the top back on, back in, and go, right, clap my hands together to get ready, and then I'm gonna guess that spell's gonna go off.
Please roll me a d6.
Okay.
I need a drink. Does anyone have a drink?
I think that's the command.
Check. And Glory pulls out a
Oh, it's,
really
just exclamation
expensive
mark
bottle
D6.
of wine.
That was it.
Thank you. I chug like a couple of glugs and I go, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Hermit. Thank you, Simon.
Okay. Cool. And so that means I do this.
This is your fault.
Nice.
Scorn, Fuse. We see you there in the chat.
He's just a priest of chaos. It's fine.
Okay.
Fine.
And then it is another one of them. And another one of these.
Why are there so many?
Because we're level, what? 15? And Simon said that flask gets exponentially
Yeah,
worse the higher level we are.
If you're gonna get ridiculous artifacts, then yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we are level 15.
So I'll get to Eclipse in a minute. The second that the hip flask touches your lips, you chug on that thing like it's the cure for your death.
Oh, God, that means I'm gonna. It's got 6 charges.
You take all 6.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, no.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. Chaos.
Oh God, I cast at 9th level.
And suddenly,
Yes, well, we do.
the world just comes into focus, man. Oh my God, you feel so refreshed. Wow. I mean, this is
Going
great. You're
to-
having like some sort of Zen moment here. Almost like you rolled, almost like Scumfuse previously rolled on the Monk Wild Magic table and hit Drunken Master.
Oh no!
And you're just like, it all makes sense to me now. Yeah. And then you look at your hands and watch the dark energy building up in your hands. Ribbons of like crackling dark energy start appearing like strange twisting worms. Yeah, you're gonna have to throw this somewhere. We'll get to you in a minute.
Okay.
Eclipse. Someone turns around to you. Well, I'm going to say it's the dwarven lady that was there before. She's like, "Oh, that's no problem. We always keep a little bit, and
Glory gave me wine. If you didn't hear.
You gave her one of the bottles. One of the bottles of wine, yeah.
Yeah, and I checked all of that.
Okay. Constitution saving throw, please.
Oh no.
With tech. No, actually, no, with no disadvantage to that one. So yeah.
Oh no. What am I good at Constitution saving throws? 12.
12. Okay. Yeah, the world comes into focus. Wow! You're pissed out of your gourd, but you don't have any disadvantages.
Yay!
The second that the wine bottle is opened, Glory, you're like, that's what I need. As Eclipse gives you back. To be fair, she's drunken half of this 13% bottle. She hands it back to you. You can try and resist if you want, but you really want to drink.
Take a drink. Con save?
Con save?
Oh yeah, 24.
Yeah. I mean, with your preternatural body now, you glug down the wine and just throw it on the floor. Smash! There's a couple of dwarves going, yeah, kind of thing, because that's how you start a battle if you're a dwarf. Again, hey, that good night's sleep has now kicked in. Fantastic. You can see that that Cora is drinking some beautiful looking ornate bottle. Drinks down. There's a smell of blossoms coming from this bottle. She necks the whole damn thing. Then pulls out what seems to be like pocket crumpet and just bites into it. And she goes, "What? Doesn't everybody have crumpet after wine?" And starts tearing at this baked good. This giant orb of frozen time in front of you starts to go critical.
Fine.
The matter.
I'm going to do something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do something real dumb.
You already drank out of the bottle.
And you do have a spell in your hands at the moment, which you're not entirely sure what it is.
6 spells going all off at once because I drank the whole thing. So, I have in my possession a very powerful arcane focus. You told me, Simon. It's a very powerful casting focus.
It is.
It's also got a wonderful teleporting ability that can open rifts and doorways between 2 places.
Yeah.
I'm going to channel all of that energy that's crackling and bubbling and frothing through me into the knife. I'm going to do the biggest arc that I can across the sort of sky, trying to not necessarily cut where the knife hits, but cut much, much higher. We're talking like thousands of feet up in the air. And then I want the other part of the rift that usually appears to appear underneath the mansion. I want the mansion, at the second it goes critical, to drop through the rift, reappear above.
Okay.
I don't think I can punch through the sphere, but I think I can get it high enough and pray that Renata can get it, will protect herself and get out.
Okay. Let's see. This one doesn't scale up, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm gonna
look at Glory as this is happening and going,
Glory, teleport Renata out of there.
Okay.
Drunkenly, like, you tiefling sorceress lady, you make other lady teleport. That's how magic works. I don't know. I'm just a rogue. You magic.
I need to be within
Make
10
magic work.
feet of her.
That will get you within 10 feet, and I push it forward.
That will get you within 10 feet. Go.
As you push her forward, Hoster does turn around and says, "No, careful. It's solid. It's a solid sphere. You can crack it with weapons, but the cracks tend to repair themselves over time, or maybe we're just not cracking it hard enough."
That's you.
At which point, Farewell goes, woof. Farewell. Roll me 11d12.
As Farewell is doing that, Simon,
Yeah?
Eclipse idea does have merit, and I wish to use the demiplane spell like I did with the kids and try and like capture Renata as Farewell is moving the house.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
If you would be okay with that idea.
We'll do a roll in a second, yeah?
Do you want the individual answers or the cumulative total?
Just the total damage.
Okay. 70.
70 points of damage. Oof. Okay,
This
so
is gonna hurt.
you slash. As you do so, the rift, as this thing starts to go critical, lightning arcs all over the place. It gets sucked in, comes out the other side, and reforms itself around Renata. Okay? Whether or not Renata's still there, we'll find out when we get Felicia to do her roll. As it reforms itself, you can see that there's cracks in the air. So this solidified, static air has like energy cracks in it. You know you did a lot of damage. You know that taking it through this ringer did a lot of damage. The whole sphere now has had exactly 70 points of damage out of its total amount of hit points. And Hoster goes, "We never managed to make a crack that big."
Oh, I'm gonna puke. It wasn't through choice. However, I'm not really sure how long that's gonna stay up there.
The house is kind of like, because it had already been part exploded, it kind of got sucked through and then ended up in the same place. But as it did so, there was lots of kind of cracking and twisting, and it's kind of cracking of frozen time that only Farewell would understand that, as it went through. And it's kind of destabilized this stasis effect to a certain extent. And you have a feeling that if you're successful in destabilizing this in its entirety, the explosion would continue, which would basically mean that it just rained rocks all over the place for a bit. But it would stop maybe the free energy and the wild magic going off. The maelstrom is going off in all directions here. Felicia, give me just a straight spellcasting roll. Thankfully, without disadvantage, because you satisfied the drunken master wild magic.
27.
27.
As this thing, you're like, now. The Corinna's whited out.
Oh, yeah, it's the camera being weird.
All right. As
I just thought she was going Super Saiyan.
As the all of the field kind of gets sucked away, you kind of focus on Renata, and just as Renata's going to get sucked away, you go, now. And sure enough, she's in your demiplane.
Nice.
As this thing comes back, all fucking hell breaks loose. Arcs of energy start flying out in different directions. Parts of the street suddenly just go ice cold, and people are there kind of like, it burns, and they start running down the side streets. People from the Green Organization start scattering in every direction. Now that they can see that Renata has been saved, she's not there anymore, they'd have no reason to stay near this mansion, and there's a mass exodus of the Green Organization. They literally were staying for her.
Yeah, I told him to get the
hopefully-
fuck away.
Well, hopefully it should be that it's in the sky. That's kind of where I wanted to put the damn mansion, so it should be in the sky.
It's in the sky, but the arcs of energy are still hitting all over the place.
Yeah.
And
Initial explosion.
there's a phoom next to you as 4 what you can see as quite powerful wizards, and Duke Edmund goes, Renata,
It's
safe.
safe.
I can see that's going to put a lot of damage to the city and potentially lives. You need to destroy
We're
it.
trying to mitigate it.
Destroy it. It's an event horizon. Renata told me about these before. You need to break it down somehow. You need to damage it. Powerful magics, siege weapons, whatever we can get our hands on.
I point
You're the one that
Sashu.
installed them around the city. Tell them to fire already. God, man, go.
He turns to look offended and just goes, I only just came here to assess it. Of course I will tell them to fire.
I mentally tell Sashul to go fucking ham on the shit.
Sashul's like, I don't know what that is, but I know I'm going to kill it. And with a happy hummingbird, it sounds a lot like like one of those drones when it goes. Sashul just goes straight up towards it. Arcs of energy start crackling along the spinning blade's length as it starts just ricocheting off it all. And that is where we're going to end, because you are going to be fighting the Event Horizon next session.
Very well.
And you can find out what's going on with Renata in the meantime.
Yes.
Farewell put a bit of a curveball in there, so I can still do a particular scene. That's fine. I was just like, how am I going to fit that in? Okay.
I mean, I hope we did well by saving her with the demi plate.
Well played at the end. Well played at the end. Yeah, you've got her in there. So when you come back in, week after next, because we are going to be in a field with 2,800 other nerds next week.
Yeah, you're off your LARP again.
We are indeed. So we will be
Why is it always on Friday?
back
That's
in
unfair.
2 weeks' time. And when we do, we'll be going straight into what I promise you is going to be a key scene for the whole campaign.
Woo!
Okay? We're going to be doing this. I will tell you that regardless of what you do now, some outcomes are set.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately after this, you will have to go and find Jordan.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's the promise. So this is a set of sessions not to be missed. There's a few things that's going to turn up, and you're going to go off straight into a siege. I will be contacting the lovely Midi, Kat, who is in Chaotic and a number of other things, in the hope that Lady Alexandra Daorin will join you in the Golden City, if only for a session. And there may be other people as well, because the Golden City is going to take a few sessions and a few encounters as you go through the city. And my intention is that as you're going through the different streets, you're going to meet different people who joined you. So this is a call to arms. I would like Scornfuse. I would like Akai, who is actually Mage Dave. Of course, Felicia recognised the name because she's in the same part of that campaign. So we are going to bump Akai through from that world into this world. And he is a Xinyan samurai. I'm hoping that we'll be able to get for one of the combats Midi. I will pull Hermit in for one of it as well, because Hermit was in the pirate game too. And you're going to be bouncing through a bunch of people in the city.
And we're not gonna have Gorm and Hermit at the same time.
No,
that's a bit sad.
No one can deal with that much chaos on one screen. So we will see. So it's just going to be you weaving through the different streets and trying different things. Okay. The very first encounter, of course, will be when you get there, and waiting for you will be Excellence. Okay. So he will turn up at the Golden City, just so you know I'm not forgetting him.
Yeah.
He'll be there. Okay. Good stuff. I think I did say in the previous session that they would drop him off
like
there.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, thank you very much. It's good to get back into this, and it's good to be cracking on with the story. Because we missed a bunch of weeks, there was a few minor bits of content that I've actually written out of the story now, so that we can actually get on to the good stuff. And
Get on to the meat.
we are definitely going to be getting on to the good stuff now, because I'm really kind of curious as to see what your reactions are going to be. What is it? Not Monday now. We don't have anything on Monday. We have an off-stream game on. We have an off-stream game on Monday that we run for Chaotic, but that won't be on the stream. Then on Thursday, I don't think we've got Mage still, because it's still the holiday break. So I don't think there's anything coming up on stream for the next week. But we will be back the following week with both Mage and the Benefactor. And we are going to start discussing, being that I got my Kickstarter this week of Versen. I now have Sweden and Britain Versen. And we are going to be discussing how we start that as well. So I'll be chatting with Felicia and Corinne this weekend, going forward with that. Until then, don't be a stranger. Join our various people on the community. I believe Tom and that lot are playing 7 Days to Die at the moment. They are playing multiplayer Skyrim, which I'm intrigued. I need to take a look at this. At the moment, they are playing
We did a little bit of Terraria too.
Yeah, doing some Terraria, modded Terraria. And so
regular actually. I've been doing a little bit of modded on my own, but
yeah,
we've been trying to get through the normal one together.
Yeah,
which has been fun.
And with all the new changes to Don't Starve Together, we were saying if we can round up everybody who has that game, just having a completely crazy, chaotic, neutral Don't Starve Together, and just see how badly we fuck up. So
we're gonna fuck up so badly, especially because I really want to get into the sailing mechanics now that they've updated them.
Yeah.
And added more. And there were already several biomes and stuff that we haven't actually explored in the sea.
And seasons as well, so yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, don't be a stranger. Please, if you enjoyed our particular brand of madness, you can follow us, you can subscribe to us, and you can also join our Discord, which you'll find in the channel notes. Don't be a stranger, come say hi, play games, we're a community. Until then, have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you soon. Good night.
Bye.